Welcome you back to Black Side Sports Tonight. We're going to take a look at college football recap week 7. First, I would like for you to subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, hit that notification button, but also comment on this video. The Washington Huskies today defeated the Oregon Ducks 36-33 in the game of the day. Michael Penix and Mr. Nix went at it every down in this game, but Michael Penix, for the second year in a row, has defeated Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks in a close battle. Penix drove them down the field with 1:38 left and completed a touchdown to give them the 36-33 lead, but Oregon, under Bo Nix, drove down the field but missed the field goal. Now, Michael Penix seems to be the leader for the Heisman Trophy after beating Nix and Caleb Williams getting blown out by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And let's go to that game. USC was on the brink of losing. They were in trouble against Arizona State. They were in trouble against Arizona and escaped, but this week with 5 turnovers versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish up in South Bend, they got blown out 48-20. Lincoln Riley needs to do something with his defense. His defense is awful. It's like walking through water. Everybody can score. And it seems like Caleb Williams, when he stepped up against a quality defense, had some trouble. And that's why Notre Dame, after a disappointing loss to Louisville, came back with a crushing win against the Heisman Trophy winner. The third game we're going to look at, and that's Louisville losing to Pittsburgh, a team Pittsburgh would have one game this year. They went up to Pittsburgh. You know, the weather was terrible up there, and they gave up 24 second-half points to the Pittsburgh Panthers and lose in a big loss. This is going to be a tough one for Louisville because this is a game they should have won. After beating Notre Dame, they were on an extreme high. But when they went up to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh caught them at the right time, still celebrating. And in the second half, just totally blew out the Louisville Cardinals. That's going to be a tough loss for that Cardinal football team. And we're going to talk about some more games, especially the Florida-South Carolina game, which was a tremendous game. South Carolina led 37-27 late in the game, but Graham Mertz brought them back from the depths of losing that game at South Carolina. And late in the game, throws a touchdown to Pearsall to give them a late lead with 48 seconds left. That is going to be a game that Florida fans will never forget, because coming up soon is the game against the Georgia Bulldogs, in which they can get back into the fight for the SEC East. And that's what the fans of Georgia is used to having every year. And I want to talk about another game, the Miami Hurricanes versus the North Carolina Tar Heels. The Tar Heels are flying under the radar in the ACC. They are undefeated, number 14th in the country. They will go up some more this week, but they probably have the best quarterback, one of the best in the country, Drake May. And they beat the Miami Hurricanes, which we saw last week throw away a game against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, 41-31. And Drake May is playing at a high level. We have to take a look at the Tar Heels and see what they do down the stretch. You know, they got games against Clemson and other foes, Clemson and maybe Florida State in that division. So we'll see what the Tar Heels can do when they step up. Now, Miami was their first step up. They passed that test. But let's see what they do against Florida State. Let's see what they do against Clemson. Those are the two teams they really have to show. And we have another team fly. That's the Duke Blue Devils, who tonight beat the North Carolina State Wolfpack. So we have a few teams in the ACC trying to vie to win that championship and go to the college football playoff. So things are getting extremely interesting in the SEC. We know what's going on in the Big Ten for the simple fact next week we have a huge matchup between Penn State and Ohio State. We have next week, we have a game between Alabama and Tennessee. All these tough games are coming up down the road who will determine who plays in these championship games. And secondly, who's going to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be tough this year. I think we're going to see how the Pac 12 comes out. That looks like it's going to be tough. You got 4 or 5 teams that's vying to come out of there. So everything is looking good for college football. Could be one of the best years in college football history. And another game I forgot to talk to you about, Stanford and Colorado. And Stanford coming back from 29 to beat Colorado. And you got to give Deion credit for this team being 4-3. But he's going to have to teach them a lesson about being humble, being a team that plays for 60 minutes, being a team that is prepared for the show and not to be the show. See, the great teams prepare to be the show. Alabama, Georgia, Clemson. When they get to that level, when they step out on the field and they play for 60 minutes for each other and not for themselves, the Colorado Buffaloes will be a great football team. I want to thank you for listening to Black Side Sports. Hope you subscribe to this channel, smash that like button, but also share this video.